Sun Tzu's principles in Operation Epic Fury. As of April 2026, the conflict between the US and Iran, often referred to by military analysts as Operation Epic Fury, serves as a high-stakes masterclass in both the application and the occasional neglect of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. While the initial strikes in late February were a tactical marvel of modern technology, the current stalemate reveals a deep tension between ancient wisdom and 21st century geopolitics. Here is how the current conflict measures up against Sun Tzu's core principles. Deception and the thunderbolt strike. All warfare is based on deception. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. The joint U.S.-Israeli opening salvo on February 28, 2026 was the quintessential thunderbolt. By launching the operation during ongoing nuclear negotiations, the coalition achieved absolute strategic surprise. The decapitation of the regime's leadership in the first 12 hours followed Sun Tzu's advice to strike where the enemy is unprepared. However, Sun Tzu also warned that deception must be sustainable. While the initial strike succeeded, the subsequent Iranian response, utilizing impenetrable underground missile silos and asymmetric drone swarms, shows that Iran was also playing the deception game, hiding its true retaliatory capacity until the moment of impact.
The cost of prolonged war. There is no instance of a nation benefiting from prolonged warfare. If the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. This is where the U.S. strategy currently faces its harshest Sun Tzu-style critique. Sun Tzu prioritized speed and efficiency because poverty of the state exchequer leads to internal ruin. The price tag. With the Pentagon recently requesting an additional $200 billion and global oil prices spiking due to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the economic strain is becoming the primary battlefield. The strategic risk. By not achieving a total collapse of the Iranian military in the first month, the U.S. has entered a war of attrition. Exactly what Sun Tzu warned would blunt your weapons and dampen your ardor.
3. Knowing the enemy and yourself. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. The U.S. appears to have known the enemy's physical infrastructure, targets, bunkers, and command centers with surgical precision. However, Sun Tzu's definition of knowing includes understanding the enemy's spirit and the moral law, the unity of the people with their ruler. Miscalculation. The coalition may have overestimated how much the 2025-2026 internal protests would weaken the regime's resolve. Instead of a total internal collapse, the external strikes have, in some sectors, triggered a rally round the flag effect, illustrating a gap in the U.S. assessment of Iranian national resilience. Self-knowledge. The U.S. must also know itself, specifically its own political appetite for another multi-year commitment in West Asia during an election cycle.
4. Subduing without fighting. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Sun Tzu argues that the highest form of generalship is to balk the enemy's plans and prevent the junction of the enemy's forces. The U.S. attempted this through years of maximum pressure and sanctions, but the transition to epic fury marks a transition from the highest form of generalship to a lower one, attacking the enemy in the field and besieging, effectively, a nation. The current offer of talks in exchange for reopening the Strait of Hormuz is an attempt to return to this principle, using military leverage to force a diplomatic outcome that could not be reached through words alone. Comparison summary: the 5 factors. Sun Tzu's 5 constant factors determine the winner of any conflict. Here is the current 2026 scorecard. The moral law, unity between people and leaders. Advantage, uncertain. Both nations face internal divisions and protests. Heaven, timing and seasonal factors. Advantage, U.S.-Israel. The timing of the strike during negotiations was a masterstroke of timing. Earth, terrain and logistics. Advantage, Iran. Closing the Strait of Hormuz weaponized the geography of the region. The commander, qualities of the leadership. Advantage, U.S., technology coordination. The precision of Operation Epic Fury was unprecedented. Method/discipline, logistics and army organization. Advantage, U.S. In terms of sheer military logistics, the U.S. remains the gold standard of Sun Tzu's discipline.
The US has followed Sun Tzu's advice on how to fight, with speed and precision, but it may have ignored his advice on whether to fight, given the immense economic and geopolitical costs that have now surfaced. Enjoying this? Smash that like button and subscribe for more content. Drop a comment below with what you want to see next. I'm reading every single one. Thank you.